come back as soon as the meatballs were done. They were in there for about 45 minutes to maybe an hour, but they came out very nice. Notice all the juice in there. So we're going to put those in the sauce, but I figured they're going to sit over here for a little bit whilst I prepare the sauce. So this is the simplest sauce that I have ever seen done, and I can't take credit for the idea. It was something that I saw. A friend of mine posted a video of their sauce, and I tried it and loved it, and it is the simplest sauce, and that's what sauce is. It's simple. I have to say that over the summer, a friend of mine runs I wanted to say, no, it's a CSA. I wanted to say HSA, but no, CSA. And I got from him the most wonderful San Marzano tomatoes that he grew in his CSA, Heritage Garden CSA, amazing produce. And I got the benefit of getting some of his produce, and he had this huge crop of San Marzano tomatoes. So I took a bunch of them, and I think I need to buy myself a bigger food mill, because what all I did was take those San Marzano tomatoes and I just blanched them, took the skin off, and then I put them through the mill, so all you got was the tomato juice. Well, I jarred that, and I made a sauce from that, and it was as close as I could probably say that came to my Naughty Carbone sauce, because it was fresh ingredients right from the garden. I made a sauce out of it, just garlic and that, and it stands alone. You don't need anything else. So this friend makes her sauce with passata, which is just that, the pulp from tomatoes. Really, really good tomatoes. So the only thing that's really in the sauce is passata, garlic, and basil. How simple is that? But it was the tastiest sauce that I've ever had. So she put it out there, and thankfully I saw it and I used it, and it is probably one of the most amazing sauces that I've ever had, and it was the easiest. I like, just me, I know there's some that don't, I like a little red pepper in my sauce, so that's the only addition that I made to it. But it's passata, basil, garlic. Hold on, Aim. Are you coming in?
I just need my adapter.
Your what?
My adapter in the drawer.
Well, I got the door blocked. Hold on, my husband needs his adapter. I wanted to change angles because, okay, go ahead and open the door, because I wanted you to see the sauce that I was making. So, forgive the interruption, but you know, hey, that's what it's like cooking in my kitchen. Interruptions. So, what was I saying? Passata, garlic, basil, salt, maybe a little salt, but I add red pepper flake. So I'm warming up my oil. I'm gonna turn it on low because well, actually, you know what? I don't want to warm my oil. That was one of the tips that she said. Don't warm up your oil. So, all right, I won't warm up my oil. Should just be as warm as the pan. All right, I will do that. So I'm just going to mince up some garlic, and because I'm making a meat sauce, and this sauce by itself stands alone, but I'm going to be adding a ton of meat to it, so it's going to have the added flavor from the meat. So we got 4 bottles of muti passata. So I've got about, I think when I made it the other night, I had 2 bottles, and I used like 4 cloves of garlic. I like garlic. So I used a little bit more than that this time in the sauce. Again, we're going to put a ton of meat in this sauce. Right now, I'm just going to prepare the sauce, because then I'm going to add the meatballs. then, like I said, I was gonna, I didn't have short ribs, but I've got chicken thighs, and I like chicken thighs and sauce, so I'm gonna sear up the chicken thighs. I like to do that first with chicken. Just sear it up before you braise it, and anything, you just kind of want that little caramelization on the outside of your meat before you put it in the sauce. So this pretty much will, you know, dissolve. So I'm not so worried about making the garlic as small as I did when I made the meatballs. So we've got the olive oil in the pan. I don't want the handful, I just want a sprinkle. So I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of red pepper flake. And then I'm going to turn on the heat. I'm going to do in between medium and low, because my stove is really, I mean, the flame is really good. It's gas stove. Wouldn't want to cook on anything other than gas stove. I had an electric stove for a while, but I tell you, I'm so thankful that I have a gas stove now, because I prefer cooking with gas. Just, to me, it's just more controllable. All right. So, we've got the garlic in. Got my handy dandy wooden spoon. And I've got this extra big pot. I usually I don't like to make my sauce in a metal pot, but because I'm going to be putting a ton of meat in it, I have to use the biggest pot I got, and the biggest pot I have is a metal one. I don't know why, I just got a thing with tomatoes and metal. Probably nothing, but I prefer to do it in my porcelain cast iron, like Le Creuset, but not whatever the cheap version of that was. I think I got my pot on QVC. Comes in very handy. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is lovely. Oh my God. It smells so good. And that's all what are the ingredients? Tomatoes, Mediterranean sea salt. That's it. Tomatoes, Mediterranean sea salt. That's the best stuff. Why complicate things? All right, last bottle. Now what I'm going to do is, because there's an awful lot of goodness left in these bottles, and this sauce is going to cook for a while, so it's going to cook down. So you're going to want to, I'm going to rinse these out with some water and add the water to the sauce, because it's going to cook down, so it's going to get thicker, but I want to get every little bit of sauce that's in these jars. So I'm going to go off to the sink, rinse these out, come back, add it to that, then I'll add the meatball. Once it comes up to a simmer, then I'll add the meatballs. Then I'm going to sear some thighs and then put that in, and I have some sausage too, so might as well. Got to have 3 different types of meat in a meat sauce, just in my humble opinion. I'll be right back. Okay, we've got the jars, a little bit of water in them. Put the tops back on, because I'm going to want to shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, like a Polaroid picture. There we go. Just enough to rinse most of the sauce out of the jars, because you really want to get every little bit of the sauce in there. Come on, we're going to turn this up a little bit, because there's quite a bit in there. Ooh. Could have been a splash up. Last bottle. All right. Just going to stir that in. Now it's pretty thick, so I think I could add just a little bit more water because, again, it's going to cook down. So let's add a little more water. But you see, because I'm obsessed with getting every little bit of sauce, I'm going to take that little bit of water out from that bottle, pour it into this bottle, then shake that around, and pour it into this bottle. I know it seems weird, but my kitchen, I get to be as weird as I want. And then this last bottle. All right, a little bit more water. Now I've got the basil here. I mean, I add the basil as it's cooking. I'm not going to add it quite yet, but I will. And there's quite a bit of basil, and I use quite a bit in there because I like the basil. I think it sweetens it up a little bit, but I'll be picking off leaves and adding that to that. But in the meantime, we've got to wait for this to come up to a simmer. So I'll turn the heat up a little bit. I didn't want it to scorch the red pepper flake or the garlic yet. Those are all going to cook down in the sauce. And that's essentially it for the sauce. You let it cook down. Once it starts to simmer, you turn down the heat and you let it simmer, 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 simmer. Add your basil, stir, and let it just cook down until it comes to about 40 minutes. Well, for this one, this is 4 bottles, so I'm going to let this go at least an hour. I mean, it can't hurt it to cook it down. The more you cook it down, the more intense the flavors get. So just keep tasting along the way. That's the best way to make a sauce, is you keep tasting it. If you think it needs more salt, then you add more salt. If you don't, you leave it alone. I mean, you get to add what you want to your sauce because you make it yours. Right now I'm making somebody else's sauce, but I tell you, it was pretty perfect, so I'm not going to change a thing. I don't know. I didn't get the proportions of, how she made it. I just kind of guessed on my own, and I made it the way I would make it. So that's what you do in your kitchen. You make things just the way you would make it, the way you like it. There are certain rules that should be hard and fast, but there are no rules sometimes. So, I mean, and this is one of those things that you make it the way you like it. All right, so I'm going to let that come up to a simmer, and then we'll add the meatballs, and I'll sear up some chicken thighs. We'll be back.